Somebody in the comments of a video I posted last week asked me if I would speak on the topic of fear. And this commenter specifically said that when she's in class, even when she knows the answers to whatever the teacher is asking about, she's confident in the knowledge. Whenever it's her turn to speak, she freezes up and she can't speak. And this is this is a common problem. A lot of it has nothing to do with how much information you actually have. It's more about the fear of being perceived incorrectly, of being perceived as wrong or judged harshly, rejected. That's essentially the fear that coincides with our fear response to speaking up and being seen. And so I want to talk a little bit about what we can do about this because a lot of people who are watching my videos resonate with this problem. You have something to say, you have something you want to share, but when the time comes to share the information that you have, you freeze up. Now, let's consider for a moment what the body does in any kind of a threatening situation. We have only a few fear responses. We have the fight, we have the flight, and we have the freeze. There are other things like fawn that shows up, but the three main ones are you either go on the defensive and you attack, or you run away and hide, or you completely freeze. And this is response that we're talking about here is a freeze response. And I can relate to this response because this is something that plagued me for a long time. So I'm going to share with you some of the things that helped me get over my freeze response and made it possible for me to overcome it. And yes, I did overcome it. So if I can do it, then you can too. So the first thing we need to understand is that this is a biological response that is happening. Psychologically, yes, something about the situation is being perceived as a threat, even though there's no threat, really. I mean, the teacher asking you a question in class, there's really nothing threatening about that. However, the fear of being rejected by your tribe is a very real biological threat that we all carry because in our more primitive state, in our more primitive times, when we were a tribal species, being rejected by the tribe meant certain death. You could not survive without the tribe. So there's a very real fear of being rejected. And there's nothing wrong with you if you feel this fear of being rejected. It's totally normal. But it's your responsibility to learn how to get yourself out of this fear response so that you can be the person you want to be. Especially if you're on my channel, it means that you have something to say, you have something to share with the world, but your fear response is stopping you. So the first thing we have to do is we have to learn about the fear response. So you have to understand that it's totally normal. That's important because when we have these fear responses and we recognize that it's a problem, sometimes we can do unproductive things in an attempt to train ourselves out of it. For example, if you had a lot of punitive discipline when you were growing up, meaning you had people who yelled at you a lot as a way to correct your behaviors, those voices may have accumulated into one authoritarian voice in your head. And so when you freeze and you feel embarrassed and then you leave the situation, you may beat yourself up afterwards. You may berate yourself. You may scold yourself. But I want you to pause for a moment. And I just want you to consider right now, while you're in a normal, relaxed state of mind, that that is not the way to handle this. And so I just want you to first of all, try to absorb what I'm saying to you when I say that it's normal for you to have a fear response on the topic of being rejected. Emotionally beating yourself up, scolding yourself is not the way to go about it. And so I want to talk to you about some things you can do to replace that method of correction. So I mentioned that this is a biological response, this fear of being rejected by the tribe is a normal and natural fear response. So, what we need to do is we need to pay attention to what the body is doing. You have to become curious. So, right now, as you're in a calm, safe state of mind, I need you to understand and make an agreement with yourself that you're going to become curious about the way you handle these situations. What that means is you need to accept that you're not going to fix this problem the next time it happens because it's a habitual pattern in your body and in your mind. Right now, you make a decision that the next time it happens, you're going to pay attention to your body. And you have to understand you're not going to fix it in one situation. So you have to accept that you're going to freeze again. You're going to feel embarrassed again. But if you can stay committed to this process, in the next few times that it happens, you will be able to collect enough information. You will be able to slow down your process enough to where you can change your pattern. And then the goal is to change the whole pattern so that you don't freeze anymore, so that you can actually be present and focused and be able to share the thoughts that do exist in your head. So, step one, we accept that this is a natural process. Step two, we pay attention to what's happening in the body. Pay attention to your breathing. Does your breathing get shortened? Do you hold your breath? What happens to your heart rate? Do you feel your heart racing? Do you begin to sweat? What happens to your body temperature? Do you begin to get hot? When you have these things happen to your body, it's a natural biological response to fear. It's normal. So you can start to train yourself to stop feeling ashamed of this right now. You can accept that this is a natural response to fear. And you can switch the shame or the self judgment to curiosity. Isn't that interesting? My heart is racing as if I'm being chased by a lion, but my teacher is just asking me a question. My classmates are staring at me, and my heart is racing. My breath has become short. The back of my neck is starting to sweat. Isn't that interesting? We have to change the way we perceive these. Shaming yourself is never going to work. It didn't work when you were growing up. You may think it did, and that's why you do this. This is why you verbally discipline yourself, or I should say, psychologically, you scold yourself because it worked when you were growing up. But did it really, or did it just make you afraid of the person who yelled at you? Do you really want to fear yourself, your own internal thoughts? Wouldn't it be better if you felt safe with your internal thoughts? So switch the way you talk to yourself instead of, oh my God, I'm so weak, I'm so stupid. Instead, think, isn't that interesting? My heart races. Isn't that interesting? I'm holding my breath. Why don't I take a deep breath? Why don't I pay attention to my breath now? So that's step three. Step one, we recognize that this is a normal biological response to fear. Step two, we pay attention to what happens in our body when we are in a fear response. Step three, we get to the point where we can actually make a change. So when you recognize, when you're finally at the point, and it might take a couple or a few embarrassing moments to get to a point where you finally can go, I'm doing that thing. Isn't that interesting? My breath is short. My heart is racing. Let me just slow down. I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to pay attention to my breath. I'm going to see if I can slow down my heart rate, and I'm going to see what happens. After this happens a few times, what will begin to take place is you will be able to slow down your heart rate and your breath. And then what happens next is you can think again. Because when you're in that fear response, you can't think clearly. All that knowledge that you have disappears. All that information that you know you can share in the classroom with your classmates, with your teacher, it goes away. It's gone. So, what we have to do is we have to eliminate the fear response in our body by slowing our breath down and getting our heart back to a normal pace. And then we can begin to speak. So, here is something you can do while you're in the process, because hopefully you're not experiencing embarrassing moments all the time. They're not happening enough for you to get enough practice in. So here's what you can do on a regular basis, like a day to day or a few times a week basis. You can talk to yourself. And here's what I like to do. I like to do what I call a walk and talk. So I go for a walk and I take my phone, okay? And I hold it up like this. And this way, to my neighbors, I look like I'm talking to somebody on the phone. Yeah, it looks like I'm hijacking the whole conversation, but I don't care. They don't care either. They don't really care. But for me, in order to feel like I'm not being perceived as a crazy person, I'll hold up my phone and I'll talk to myself. I just talk about whatever is on my mind, whatever awarenesses I've been having lately, any breakthroughs, I'll check in with myself. And what I find is it gives me a chance to get to know the way I speak, the way I communicate. And it's a good way to practice pacing. Because one of the problems, in my opinion, based on my observation, that most people have is that everybody speaks so quickly. It's a big pet peeve of mine. It's one of the reasons why I decided to start this channel, because I felt like I didn't like the way, whenever I would go into any social situation, whether it was at a cafe or a party or a work situation, I felt like everybody's speaking so fast. And because I'm a sensitive person, I tend to mirror people a lot. And so I found that I was beginning to speak so quickly to the point where I couldn't really keep up with my thoughts. And this bothered me a lot. I didn't like it. I felt like I didn't have any control over my communication style. And I realize it's because the culture has sped up. You can even see it in social media on YouTube or whatever, wherever you watch videos. The editing is so choppy. And even with my software, I have this feature where I can eliminate pauses, which I do use those, but it speaks to a certain lack of patience that our culture has. And this is inadvertently forcing other people to speed up and to think quicker. But the truth is, a lot of people don't really think like that and they don't want to speak like that. And so it's up to us to be willing to slow down our own pacing and to pay attention. So when I go out and I do my walk and talk, I practice speaking at a pace that I find comfortable, at a pace where I can keep up with my thoughts. And that's what you have to do when you're in a situation like a classroom situation where you're put on the spot and you're expected to share your thoughts and you become anxious and scared. It's up to you to control the energy of the room by paying attention to your breathing, to your heart rate, your thoughts as they come up, and then you share them at a pace that works for you. If you're around somebody who rushes you, you can't do anything about that except try to avoid being around them as much as possible. But in general, people are willing to meet you where you are. I find it easy to control the pacing of a conversation as long as I'm aware of the pacing. When I become unconscious and I start going with the flow of the conversation, that's when my tempo speeds up. But as long as I'm paying attention, I can keep the pacing at a speed that makes it possible for me to breathe evenly and keep up with my own thoughts. So I have a journal prompt for you today. I want you to try the walk and talk. It really helps a lot. And for your journal prompt, I want you to write down, when you freeze, what happens in your body first? Can you get curious about it instead of judging it? And if you want to take this journal prompt out on your walk and talk, you can. You don't have to write all of these things down. You can actually speak them. And so it doubles as a journal session and a practice session where you're learning how to speak and use your voice in a way that makes you feel good. And here's the truth: most people are so stressed out and frazzled today that when they find themselves in the presence of somebody who is able to keep an even pace and a calm demeanor, they feel safe, they feel comfortable, and they like being around you. The people who are, always rushing and they're rushing you, those people are, you got to be careful around them. They want to try to control everything. Sometimes you have to be careful. But I have found the people who appreciate the slow pacing, the mindful paying attention, they feel very comfortable around you. So it's a worthwhile effort to work on this, staying present, paying attention, noticing your breathing, noticing your heart rate, accepting that the fear responses are totally normal, but that it is your responsibility to learn how to control your own energy. So I hope that helped you. If you're looking for regular vocal practice, I highly recommend my community. Please check out the link below so you can see the 3 different tiers. We have one for every financial bracket. It's a great way for you to get some regular practice and to be around other people who are mindful of their voices. It's been a really awesome experience with them. And if you're not into community, I also do one-on-one sessions. So please check out that link as well. And of course, I also have my free guide. It's a beginner's guide to healing trauma through the voice, the body, and nutrition. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.